Good morning. For this EMS Tuesday, we're going to cover the basics of our ZOLL X Series monitor. We're going to start with our morning check. First thing that we should be doing in the mornings is checking the battery indicator built into the battery itself. We'll just push the little button here next to the finger. It illuminates the lights. If we have anything less than a full battery, we're going to want to swap the battery out. We swap the battery out by grabbing the gray handle here, lifting it up, and pulling the battery out. We can get a new battery from the watch office. Once we have the battery in, we'll turn on our monitor with the power button on the top. You're going to see some illuminating lights that'll flash on and off. Those lights cover the equipment status and patient alerts. And once the monitor is powered on, we want to look up here to the RFU indicator. We want to see a black blob overlaying that red circle with the cross through it. If the red circle with the cross through it is visible from a straight-on angle, you've got a problem with the battery or a problem with the monitor itself. We can try by changing the battery first. If that doesn't work, we need to get the monitor in for service. Right now, you can see the circle with the red line through it because of the angle that the camera's at. But if you were straight on, you would see that black blob indicating that everything is okay. Next, we're going to talk about the silence and reset button. We can hit this button and turn off alarms for up to 90 seconds on a patient. This button here is the home and screen display button that can change the orientation of your heart rate, NIBP, respiratory, SpO2, and the configurations of your pads shown on the screen. Next are your dot and arrow buttons. These are your navigation buttons to roll through the different options. The arrows scroll through and the dot selects. Next button down is our snapshot button. This will take a picture of waveforms for up to 20 seconds as well as numerics. And then we have our NIBP button, start and stop. Moving down, we have our shock discharge button that is used for the defibrillator as well as synchronized cardioversion. When defibrillating, you can press the shock button and it will discharge as soon as you press the shock button. For synchronized cardioversion, you'll have to push and hold the shock button until it's discharged. Moving back along here, these are our manual mode buttons for the AED as in medic mode where it's not automatic anymore. It's still an external defibrillator, but we would be referencing the waveforms up here for their cardiac rhythm as to whether or not a shock would be necessary. To place it in AED mode, we would just hit the Analyze button.
Attach pen.
You'll see once we're in AED mode that the soft keys down the side have changed. If we want to exit out of the AED mode, we're going to hit the soft key at the top, exit. So AED mode, let's analyze.
Attach pads.
We want to get out of that, exit. Medic mode, we don't use the analyze, we start with the energy select. That puts us into the CPR mode, defibrillator mode of the AED. We can select the energy over here. We can charge. Let's say we decide not to use the charge, we can hit energy select. Or when we charge, there was a disarm button that showed up over there. And to get out of the medic mode, we can hit the home button. Moving on down along the bottom, we have the pacer mode. We can hit this to bring up the pacer mode menus. We'll go into that in another portion of the video. And just turn off the pacer. It's pacer mode, and then down to turn off pacer. Now we have our 7 soft keys on the side. These vary depending on where you are in the monitor. On the home screen, our 7 start from the top, which is the source select or leads mode. You'll see that it's saying lead fault because we don't have anything hooked up, and it's showing that it's on lead 2. We can change this lead to whatever we like. We use the arrows to go over to it, select it, and then we can change it to something like pads. And this would be for your defibrillating or synchronized cardioverting pads. And go back to 2. While we're in this mode coming across, we can actually change the amplification of the waves. We'll show you that in another video. Second soft key down is our 12 lead mode. The next soft key down is our ETCO2 mode, where it pulls in ETCO2. We'll go into that and do another video. Next is our treatments. You see a little white cross there with the RX in there. This is great for being able to mark when an IV's been started, when a D-stick's been started, oxygen, cardiac arrest drugs like epinephrine or lidocaine or amiodarone. All these can be tagged in the monitor, and then they'll show up on the medic's report. Fifth key down is for synchronized cardioversion. We'll go into that in a later video. Sixth key down is your print screen. it will start printing the leads that are present on the home screen, start and stop with that same button. 7th key down brings up a new set of hotkeys. The top one is your display for night and dark mode, day and dark mode. Second one's not used. Third one is to set the alarm limits. We can change for the BP or SpO2 limits. And get back out of there with our return key. 4th key down is for logs. This is where we'll select the log and send it to ImageTrend. Next soft key down is settings. The next one is not applicable, and the final one brings us back to the home screen. And as we move around the top, we have the date and time. We can select it and adjust it here for daylight savings time. The next selection across the top is the age of the patient, adult, pediatric, or neonate. This changes things like for an AED, changes the defibrillation voltage, as well as like the NIBP and respiratory rates and pressures for their acceptable parameters. Next one across the top is our Wi-Fi screen. Come see one of us if you need any changing of the Wi-Fi. And the next one across is the battery life, and the next one across from that is how long the monitor has been open for this particular call.